It's been a really incredible year for publishing. We have seen more change in the past 12 months than I think we've seen in any uh, longer period since I started working in the industry about 13 years ago. It's an enormously exciting time to be an agent, but I hope it's also an enormously exciting time to be an author because with self-publishing, not only so much more readily available, but also so much more respected, it's opened up a number of possibilities for authors that they never had before. We're seeing independently published authors selling millions of copies of their books and getting paid incredibly well to do so. And I just wanted to talk briefly about the electronic publishing move, which right now is the birth of, or the studies showing that readerships are going down. For the first time, we're seeing sort of anecdotal evidence that teens are reading more, there are new generations of readers, and readership is in fact going up, partly because of much more accessible books, or many more accessible books, but also because this age group has really been targeted. So my feeling is that after decades of decline, yes, reading is on the rise. And I also want to focus in independently published title, or you wanted to go the traditionally published route. As difficult as the process is, as challenging as publishing a book is, I personally have always been incredibly optimistic and always believe that there's room for great fiction, that good books find readerships, and that as hard as it is to break in, once you're there, it's just enormously satisfying. And there's room for you. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the ebook bonanza. So to talk about the ebook bonanza, it's a moment of great change in distribution, and at the moment, what we're seeing is the categories that work best are women's fiction, romance, and thrillers. What you should take into consideration in approaching the possibility of publishing an electronic book on your own is, well, I have 4 points down. One is the expense for you, and that is variable, but most people spend about $500 to $1,000 to publish a title, and that's an amount that can be relatively easily earned back, but at the same time, there's real risk involved. So think about that and be aware of that. The next question is whether you're writing in a genre that is advantageous for electronic publishing. And right now, again, women's fiction, thrillers, mysteries, genre fiction works the best. If you're writing literary fiction, if you're writing in young adults, chances are you're going to have a better opportunity as of now going through a traditional route. Another factor is the question of prestige versus profit. I think there remains a real prestige to having a traditional house behind you. If that is more important to you than the paycheck, then still follow the tradition. Go find an agent to find a publisher, and allow that to be the guide, the old process to be the guide. And you also want to think about how much output you have. The electronic market works best if you're publishing 2 or more books a year. So if you're the sort of author who only publishes or can only write a book, one book a year, or one book every 2 or 3 or 4 years, then typically publishing by yourself is not going to work because it's just too hard to break out that way. Moving into some more specifics, I wanted to ask the question of who you write for. I don't think it's any surprise to anyone that every time there is a major bestseller, the first thing you see after that is a series of books that follow the exact same formula. I remember when the Da Vinci Code came out and was such a massive hit immediately after we started, as agents, seeing queries for books like the Michelangelo Codex or, Renoir's Mysteries. Everybody saw this book that sold millions of copies and thought, I can do that. I haven't been able to break out yet, but Dan Brown did it, and now I can too. And that is, those books, the knockoffs, are sometimes successful, but they're never as successful as the original. And it's a question of creating a market versus chasing one. Twilight became a huge book, and then no other teen vampire novels did as well as that. Many tried. Many were very successful. But Stephenie Meyer wasn't successful because she was writing to a market she believed existed. She was successful because, well, I'm actually going to talk about that book a little bit more in a bit, but she was successful because she wrote something that readers wanted to read independently of a trend. I'm always scared of people writing to a trend because it tends to feel artificial. I tend to believe that people can tell if they're reading something that isn't an author's true passion. And, right now, it happened with the Da Vinci Code. It happened with Twilight. Right now I'm seeing a lot of 50 Shades of Grey knockoffs. And, if you're already writing erotic romance and you see 50 Shades take off and you see an opportunity to sort of break through a door that wasn't open before, that's wonderful and that's convenient. But seeing the success of that book and deciding to join the trend now and sort of learn this category and write to this category tends not to work so well. One of Jane Distel's clients, David Morrell, wrote a book called The Lessons from a Lifetime of Writing. And in it, he discusses teaching a class where he asks 25 aspiring writers why they're there and what their goal is and what they intend to gain from the class. And he asks, some people say they're writing because they just want to see their book in print, and some people say they're writing because they want to make money. And he listens to all of their answers, and then he says, you all have it wrong. None of you are writing for the right reason.